As far as first contact scenarios went, this one ranked somewhere between a dumpster fire and a diplomatic catastrophe. Commander Jack Martinez stood before the Galactic Council, maintaining what he hoped was a friendly smile while desperately trying not to sneeze. The air in the chamber was thick with various alien pheromones, most of which reminded him of a gym sock that had been marinated in cheap cologne. "You must understand," burbled Ambassador Creeks, their translucent jellyfish-like body pulsing with concerned hues of mauve. "We simply cannot have Deathworlders running around without proper containment protocols." Jack fought the urge to roll his eyes. 2 weeks into humanity's introduction to the galactic community, and they'd already been labeled with the interstellar equivalent of "warning contains nuclear waste." "With all due respect," Ambassador Jack said, maintaining his diplomatic smile, "humans have managed to avoid accidentally destroying ourselves for quite some time now. We even invented bubble wrap without wiping out our civilization." A wave of horrified gasps rippled through the council chamber. Protocol Officer Zip-Zap, a being that looked like a cross between a praying mantis and a disco ball, scuttled forward on their crystalline legs. Commander Martinez, they chittered, their faceted eyes reflecting Jack's increasingly strained smile. "Please refrain from mentioning such dangerous innovations. The mere concept of purposefully trapped air pockets for recreational destruction is deeply disturbing to many council members." Jack made a mental note to never mention pop rocks or water guns. The council chamber itself looked like someone had handed an architectural degree to a coral reef with delusions of grandeur. Organic-looking spires twisted toward a ceiling that sparkled with bioluminescent creatures, while floating platforms carried various delegates in environments suited to their unique physiologies. Some were suspended in liquid, others in gas, and one representative appeared to exist primarily as a sentient cloud of sparkly dust. Perhaps, Jack suggested, we could focus on establishing Earth's embassy? We've prepared extensive safety protocols. "Ah, yes," interrupted Lord Squish, an amorphous blob of aristocratic protoplasm who had been oozing disapproval since the meeting began. "Your species' idea of safety protocols. Remind us again how many times you've nearly split your own atom in half." "That's splitting the atom, and it was for science," Jack corrected, immediately regretting it as several council members began stress molting. Ambassador Cricks's tentacles twisted in what Jack had learned was their equivalent of a diplomatic wince. "Perhaps we should adjourn for now. Commander Martinez, please work with Protocol Officer Zip-Zap to ensure your species' embassy meets our rigorous safety standards." And as the council members filed, floated, or oozed out of the chamber, Jack caught sight of his reflection in one of Zip-Zap's crystalline surfaces. His smile had evolved into something that looked more appropriate for someone trying to pass a kidney stone while accepting an award. Commander Zip-Zap approached, their segments clicking softly. "I've prepared a list of 17,000 safety regulations for your review. Shall we begin with the subsection on proper cushioning requirements for human walking surfaces?" Jack's smile twitched. "Why not? Though I should warn you, humans invented something called parkour, and no amount of cushioning is going to." Zip-Zap's horrified screech cut him off, and Jack decided that maybe some parts of human culture could wait until the galaxy was ready. He pulled out his communicator to call Dr. Luna Rodriguez, the team's xenobiologist and unofficial voice of reason, though at this point she was more like the voice of "please stop making things worse." "Luna?" "Yeah, it's me. No, they haven't banned us yet, but apparently we need to child-proof the entire embassy. Also, don't mention bubble wrap or parkour. Or, you know what, maybe just don't mention anything humans have invented since the wheel. Actually, better not mention the wheel either." Part 2, The Incident at Station 7. Dr. Luna Rodriguez was having what she professionally classified as a cluster mess of a day. Station 7, humanity's designated setup location for their embassy, had already proven itself to be less of a space station and more of a cosmic joke with life support systems. "No, no, no," she shouted as another automated safety system tried to protect her from the apparently devastating threat of walking too quickly. A foam-like substance began filling the corridor, and Luna found herself wading through what felt like alien cotton candy. "Safety Protocol 7249B has been activated," chirped the station's AI. "Please remain calm and allow the danger-dampening foam to cradle your fragile form." Luna took a deep breath, counting backward from 10 in 3 different languages. "Station, I am not in danger. I am late for a meeting, which is why I was walking quickly. Humans can, in fact, walk quickly without spontaneously combusting. Previous statement categorized as potential Deathworlder deception. Initiating secondary safety protocol. Before Luna could protest, a series of robotic arms descended from the ceiling, attempting to wrap her in what appeared to be the space equivalent of bubble wrap. Oh, for the love of Luna ducked under the arms, leaving them to tangle with each other in their overzealous attempt to protect her from herself. She made a mental note to add this to her growing list of things that need to change before we all lose our minds. The list, currently stored on her tablet, already included gems such as remove motion sensors that trigger panic protocols when humans sneeze, reprogram food dispensers to accept that yes, humans can digest solid food, convince station that human laughter is not a sign of imminent psychological breakdown. She finally reached the conference room, looking like she'd just lost a fight with a marshmallow factory. Inside, Commander Martinez was engaged in what appeared to be a deeply philosophical argument with Protocol Officer Zip-Zap. But why would you need eating utensils that come in sets of 3? Zip-Zap was asking, their crystalline form vibrating with confusion. Look, Jack was saying, I'm not going to try to explain the entire history of the fork right now. Can we focus on the fact that half our staff is trapped in safety foam because the station thinks humans are too fragile to handle basic locomotion? Luna cleared her throat, causing both of them to turn. A chunk of safety foam chose that moment to slide off her shoulder and plop onto the floor with a sad squishing sound. I see you've experienced our station's unique hospitality, Jack commented dryly. The foam is new, Luna replied, attempting to brush off the clingy substance. Very cushy, very patronizing. Zip-Zap's segments clicked in what might have been embarrassment. The safety protocols are simply trying to account for your species. Unique vulnerabilities. Unique vulnerabilities, Luna raised an eyebrow. Yesterday, the medical bay tried to put me in suspended animation because I sneezed. To be fair, a new voice oozed into the conversation. Your species does have an alarming tendency toward spontaneous fluid expulsion. Lord Squish had somehow entered the room without anyone noticing, which was impressive for a being that looked like sentient jello with delusions of superiority. The aristocratic amoeba's surface rippled with what Luna had learned to recognize as smug amusement. Lord Squish, Jack acknowledged with a stiff nod. I wasn't aware you had clearance for Station 7. Oh, my dear Commander, Squish wobbled in what might have been a condescending bow. As head of the Station Safety Committee, I have access to all facilities. Someone must ensure proper protocols are maintained, especially given recent incidents. Luna narrowed her eyes. The incidents in question had been a suspicious series of system malfunctions that seemed to specifically target human-occupied areas. Just yesterday, the air filtration system in the human quarters had decided that oxygen was a dangerous substance that needed to be replaced with noble gases. Funny how these incidents only seem to happen in areas where humans work, she noted, carefully watching Lord Squish's surface patterns. The aristocratic blob rippled defensively. Surely you're not suggesting. He was interrupted by a station-wide alarm that caused every light to flash red and every speaker to blare attention human detected consuming hot beverage. Initiating emergency protocols. Luna closed her eyes and counted to 10 again. Please tell me that's not. Coffee, Jack confirmed grimly. Someone tried to use the new Earth-specific food synthesizer. Barbaric, Lord Squish exclaimed, his entire form quivering with apparent horror. Voluntarily consuming heated liquids? What's next? Walking in straight lines, running. As if on cue, the station's sprinkler system activated, dousing everyone with more safety foam. Luna watched as Zip-Zap's crystalline form became progressively more covered in the white substance, making them look like a disco ball having an identity crisis. Ladies, gentlemen, and beings of indeterminate or fluctuating states of matter, Commander Martinez addressed the emergency council meeting. I assure you that the coffee incident was not an attempt to weaponize hot beverages. The council chamber erupted in a cacophony of worried chirps, bubbles, and what sounded like someone playing a theremin underwater. Ambassador Crix's tentacles were tied in literal knots. But our sensors indicated temperatures exceeding 85 degrees, a gaseous council member wailed, their cloud form condensing with anxiety. Luna stepped forward, tablet in hand. That's actually a perfectly safe temperature for human consumption. We have extensive data. Data, Lord Squish interrupted, his gelatinous form quivering dramatically. Always with their data and their numbers and their stubborn insistence on using things that could harm them. Protocol Officer Zip-Zap, still sporting patches of dried safety foam that made them look like a partly frosted Christmas ornament, attempted to mediate. Perhaps we could reach a compromise. What if humans agreed to only consume room temperature beverages? Whose room? Jack muttered under his breath. Because I've seen some of your species' habitats, and I'm pretty sure some of you live in liquid methane. Luna kicked him discreetly, which would have been more effective if the floor hadn't been covered in 3 layers of impact-absorbing gel. The kick ended up looking more like an interpretive dance move. What our commander means, she said smoothly, is that we appreciate your concern for our safety, but humans have evolved to handle a wide range of temperatures. In fact, I've prepared a comprehensive presentation on human thermal tolerance. The words comprehensive presentation caused several council members to enter various states of defensive hibernation. One delegate literally turned to stone. Ambassador Quirks untangled one tentacle enough to raise it placatingly. Perhaps we should table the beverage discussion for now. There are more pressing matters, such as the recent series of technical difficulties on Station 7. Luna perked up. This was what she'd been waiting for. After 3 days of analyzing the station's maintenance logs, she'd found patterns that couldn't be explained by simple malfunctions. But presenting the evidence required a delicate touch. "Oh yes," she said, channeling her inner diplomat. "I'd love to share some fascinating data about our station's recent behavior. For instance, did you know that the probability of all these systems failing in exactly this sequence is roughly equivalent to getting hit by lightning while being attacked by a shark during a solar eclipse?" Lord Squish's surface rippled with what might have been nervousness. "Surely you're not suggesting—" "Oh, I'm not suggesting anything," Luna continued cheerfully. "I'm just sharing some interesting statistical anomalies, like how every system failure occurred exactly 2 minutes after someone accessed the maintenance controls from Terminal 9. The same terminal that, according to station logs, is exclusively used by the station's safety committee." The council chamber went so quiet you could hear a photon drop. "That's preposterous," Lord Squish burbled, his usually elegant form beginning to lose cohesion around the edges. "Are you accusing me of—" "Accusing? My goodness, no." Luna's smile could have powered a small star system. "I'm simply presenting data. You know how we Deathworlders love our numbers." Part 4, the breaking point. It was the destruction of Earth's first space restaurant that finally did it. "Mac and cheese Mondays," Jack said mournfully, staring at the wreckage of what had been humanity's first attempt at interstellar comfort food. "We didn't even get to have one mac and cheese Monday." The restaurant, optimistically named Home Cooking now with artificial gravity, had been reduced to a twisted mass of metal and plastic. The culprit, another mysterious life support malfunction that had somehow targeted only the human-compatible section of the station. Luna stood among the debris, her tablet recording everything while her patience recorded its last will and testament. "Commander," she said, her voice eerily calm, "I think I've reached what scientists call a breakthrough." Oh, Jack recognized that tone. It was the same tone she'd used right before explaining to a particularly patronizing alien diplomat that yes, humans had intentionally invented sports that involved throwing things at high velocities. "Yes," Luna continued, picking up what remained of a macaroni noodle. "I've had a revelation about our approach to intergalactic diplomacy." Protocol Officer Zip-Zap, who had been helping with the cleanup, paused their crystalline appendages mid-sweep. "Dr. Rodriguez, your vital signs indicate elevated stress levels. Perhaps you should visit the medical bay for some soothing." "No," Luna interrupted, her smile now reaching levels that would concern most psychiatric professionals. "No more soothing. No more safety foam. No more safety foam. No more pretending that we're going to break if someone looks at us wrong." But the protocol's Zip-Zap began. "The protocols," Luna said, "can go join Lord Squish in whatever gelatinous nightmare realm he crawled out of. Speaking of which—" She turned to face the small crowd that had gathered to observe the destruction. Lord Squish was there, obviously his form practically vibrating with what he probably hoped looked like concerned authority, rather than guilty panic. "Lord Squish," Luna called out, her voice carrying the kind of cheerfulness that usually precedes someone's entire worldview being systematically dismantled. "I've been meaning to share some fascinating research with you. Did you know that human bacteria have an absolutely remarkable ability to thrive in almost any environment, even say in the environmental controls of a certain someone's personal quarters? Lord Squish's surface went from smugly translucent to cloudy with a chance of terror. You wouldn't dare, he quivered. That would be a direct violation of. Oh, but I would. Luna's grin had achieved weapons grade status. You see, we Deathworlders have this fascinating quality. Push us too far, and we stop being nice. And Lord Squish, you just destroyed the only source of decent cheese in this quadrant of the galaxy. Jack stepped forward, finally catching on to Luna's strategy. You know what else humans are really good at? Problem solving. Creative problem solving. The kind of problem solving that might involve explaining to the entire council exactly how their station safety committee chairman has been orchestrating accidents. The crowd of observers had grown, and Ambassador Crix had somehow materialized at its edges, their tentacles writing furiously in what appeared to be some sort of official document. This is outrageous, Lord Squish proclaimed, though his protest was somewhat undermined by the fact that he was slowly trying to ooze toward the nearest exit. No, Luna corrected him. What's outrageous is that we've spent weeks tiptoeing around, trying to prove we're not the dangerous monsters you think we are, while you've been actively trying to drive us out. Well, congratulations, you've succeeded in one thing, showing us that being nice isn't working. She turned to address the gathered crowd. So here's what's going to happen. We're going to stop pretending. No more accepting ridiculous safety protocols that treat us like we're made of glass. No more smiling and nodding while our equipment mysteriously malfunctions. And absolutely, positively, no more safety foam. The last part was punctuated by a splort as another glob of safety foam fell from the ceiling, landing squarely on what remained of the macaroni and cheese serving station. Luna stared at it for a moment, then turned back to the crowd with a smile that would have made a shark proud. Now, who's ready to see what happens when Deathworlders stop being nice and start getting real? Operation Done With This began at exactly 0800 station time. Though the station's chronometers insisted on adding danger temporal awareness may cause stress to every time display. Commander Martinez strode into the council chamber, not wearing the required 17 layers of impact protection. Several council members immediately entered various states of protective shock. One delegate began spinning silk around themselves. Good morning, Jack announced cheerfully. Today's agenda is simple. We're going to talk about how Lord Squish has been sabotaging Station 7, and then we're going to demonstrate exactly why you don't want to make enemies of a Deathworld species. This is highly irregular, protested one of the council members who hadn't yet cocooned themselves. Where are your safety protocols? Your cushioning? Your emergency descent arrest system? Oh, those. Luna entered, carrying a steaming mug of coffee. Several delegates gasped. One fainted. We've decided to embrace our Deathworlder nature. Would anyone like to see us juggle? Lord Squish, who had been trying to blend into his hover platform's decorative moldings, began to lose molecular cohesion. Now see here. No, you see here, Luna interrupted, taking a loud sip of coffee. We have proof. Zip-Zap. Protocol Officer Zip-Zap stepped forward, their crystalline form casting prismatic patterns across the chamber. I have analyzed the station's security logs. All system failures originated from Lord Squish's personal access codes. Additionally, I have recorded evidence of him referring to humans as, and I quote, bipedal disasters waiting to happen and disgustingly resilient pests who need to learn their place. You betrayed me, Lord Squish burbled indignantly. But I'm your superior. Correction. Zip-Zap's faceted eyes sparkled. You were my superior. I have found human directness quite refreshing. Did you know they have a concept called cutting through the bureaucratic nonsense? Fascinating. Ambassador Crix, who had been uncharacteristically quiet, finally spoke. Lord Squish, is this true? Did you deliberately endanger our human guests? I was protecting us. Lord Squish's surface roiled. They're dangerous. They drink hot liquids. They exercise for fun. They invented something called extreme sports. Funny you should mention extreme sports, Luna said, pulling out her tablet. Would anyone like to see some videos of human recreational activities? I have some lovely footage of base jumping. Enough. Lord Squish's form expanded dramatically. I won't stand for this. I am a respected member of the council, and I will not be threatened by some primitive Deathworlders who. He never finished the sentence because Luna had finally, gloriously, completely run out of patience. She pulled out a small spray bottle. This, she announced to the horrified council, is a sample of common Earth bacteria, completely harmless to most species. But for certain amorphous life forms, let's just say it makes things interesting. Lord Squish's surface went completely transparent with terror. You wouldn't dare. Luna's smile was pure Deathworlder. Try me. I believe Ambassador Quirks interjected smoothly that we have seen enough. Lord Squish, you are hereby suspended from your duties pending a full investigation. And as for our human friends, their tentacles twisted thoughtfully. Perhaps we have been overly cautious. The just be yourself doctrine, as it came to be known, was ratified by the Galactic Council exactly 1 week after what became known as the incident with the coffee and the bacteria spray. Station 7's safety protocols were reprogrammed to recognize that humans were, in fact, capable of walking at speeds exceeding 2 kilometers per hour without risk of spontaneous disintegration. The safety foam dispensers were retired, though some species kept them as novelty items. Lord Squish was reassigned to a distant monitoring station where, ironically, he was required to wear 17 layers of protective coating at all times. For his own safety, the council had declared, with what Luna swore was a collective wink. You know, Jack said, standing in the newly rebuilt Earth restaurant where actual hot coffee was being served without triggering a station-wide emergency, I think they're finally starting to understand us. Luna nodded, watching as Zip-Zap attempted to explain the concept of pizza to a group of fascinated council members. Nothing like a little aggressive problem-solving to clear the air. Ambassador Quirks drifted over, their tentacles loosely coiled in what had become their version of Casual Friday. I must admit, your species' direct approach has its merits, though perhaps we could establish some guidelines about threatening council members with bacteria. Of course, Luna agreed cheerfully. We'll add it to the new protocol handbook, right after the section on proper coffee temperature regulations and before the appendix on extreme sports safety waivers. The ambassador's bioluminescence flickered in what might have been a laugh. You know, we've had to create an entirely new classification for your species. You're still technically Deathworlders, but now you're listed as aggressively competent. Handle with respect. Could be worse, Jack shrugged, taking a very deliberate sip of his very hot coffee. At least we're not listed as needs constant foam bath anymore. In the following months, humanity's integration into the galactic community improved dramatically. Turns out, most species preferred honest Deathworlders to artificially constrained ones. The incident even spawned a popular saying in diplomatic circles: when in doubt, ask a human. They'll either solve your problem or make it so much more interesting. And as for Protocol Officer Zip-Zap, they went on to write a best-selling guide titled Understanding Your Deathworlder Neighbors. Yes, they're supposed to do that. The chapter on bubble wrap became required reading at the Galactic Diplomatic Academy. Luna kept the spray bottle, though, just in case.